Welcome to this explainer. Okay, I want you to just kick back and treat this session as your very own personal cosmic consultation. I'm going to be stepping into the role of your expert astrologer today to unpack a really fascinating piece of source material. We're decoding exactly what happens when a highly active, totally electric planetary energy sits right at the front door of your astrological chart. Yep, we are talking about the messenger ascendant, specifically having the planet Mercury in the first house. Whether you actually have this placement yourself or, you just know someone who literally never seems to stop thinking, talking, or learning, this analysis of traditional Vedic astrology and Brigu Nandi Nadi principles is going to be incredibly revealing.
Okay, let's dive into this. For today's agenda, we are going to meet the messenger ascendant, uncover your charisma and superpowers, look at your career and social success, navigate the restless mind, explore deeper astrological influences, and finally, find true emotional wisdom.
So let's start right at the beginning with Section 1, Meet the Messenger Ascendant, an introduction to your chart.
According to traditional Vedic astrology, the first house represents the self, right? It's your core personality, your physical body, and exactly how you present yourself to the world. And when you drop Mercury right there, the planet of communication, intellect, and constant exchange, it fundamentally rewires your entire baseline. The source material explains that this placement creates an intensely intelligent, communicative, curious, and just hypermentally active personality. Honestly, your whole existence is filtered through this lens of mental activity. You're heavily influenced by your own thoughts, your speech, your endless desire for learning, and your social interactions. You don't just experience the world, you analyze it, you talk about it, and you catalog every little detail.
Moving right along to Section 2, Your Charisma and Superpowers, the Gifts of Your Placement.
The source text outlines some pretty incredible superpowers, or light sides, to having Mercury in the first house. First up, your sharp intelligence. You possess a mind that learns incredibly quickly. You are the kind of person who spots patterns almost effortlessly. Honestly, while everyone else is still just trying to figure out the rules of the game, you've already won it in your head. And this naturally translates into super fast responses in conversations. You are ridiculously quick on your feet. But perhaps one of the absolute greatest superpowers mentioned here is your high flexibility and adaptability. Mercury is fluid. It gives you the ability to readily adjust to entirely different environments, whether they're social, professional, or intellectual. You can literally walk into a room, immediately read the intellectual temperature, and seamlessly blend right in, or just completely take charge.
Now, what's really interesting about this next finding is a fascinating physical manifestation. Mercury's influence actually isn't just psychological. The source points out a very specific prediction. People with this placement often have a surprisingly youthful appearance, like you might literally look younger than your actual age. And that physical youthfulness, it's perfectly matched by a playful, energetic, and curious behavior that honestly lasts a lifetime. You carry this amazing childlike wonder with you. You never really lose that spark of always wanting to ask why, and that specific energy makes your presence so vibrant and magnetic to everyone around you.
Section 3, Career and Social Success, where you shine in the world.
The text makes it absolutely clear that your professional success is heavily driven by your speech and your intellect. A massive chunk of your potential lies in media and teaching. Fields that actively require you to absorb vast amounts of information and clearly communicate it back to an audience or a classroom. Then we have business and sales, which definitely includes marketing. Why? Well, because sales is ultimately all about persuasion, adaptability, and reading people, which are peak Mercury traits. Finally, we've got technology and analysis. Your brain's natural ability to recognize patterns makes you uniquely suited for analytical work where complex data needs to be processed both quickly and accurately.
But it's not just about what you do, it's how you do it. Your social behavior is basically the true engine behind your professional networking. The source notes that having Mercury in the ascendant grants persuasive communication and just excellent speaking ability. Add to that a really strong writing talent and a totally sharp sense of humor, and boom, you become someone people genuinely just want to be around. You actively enjoy networking and friendships. For you, a good conversation isn't just boring small talk, you literally thrive on deep discussions and the active exchange of ideas. Your social circle is often your absolute biggest asset because you connect with people through the shared currency of intellect.
All of that sounds fantastic, right? But I want to pause right here and ask you a direct question. With a mind that moves this incredibly fast, constantly absorbing, analyzing, and communicating, where do you actually find peace?
Which brings us to Section 4, Navigating the Restless Mind, the Shadow Side of Mercury. Because the very trait that makes you so brilliant is also, unfortunately, your biggest hurdle. The text describes this constant tug-of-war between curiosity and anxiety. On one side, you are just constantly seeking information, knowledge, ideas, mental stimulation. You are a total sponge. But on the flip side, because your thoughts move continuously, you can deeply, deeply struggle with mental peace. Overthinking becomes a very common daily occurrence. Real-world examples of this happen all the time. Like, maybe you're just trying to complete a super simple daily task, but your brain automatically starts analyzing 5 different ways to do it better. And suddenly, your productivity absolutely tanks because you're totally caught in an overthinking loop. Under stress, this hyperactive mental movement can really easily manifest as full-blown anxiety or nervousness.
And this brilliantly illustrates another major struggle outlined in the source material, the absolute paralysis of indecision. Mercury gives you this profound ability to see the exact merit in perspective A while simultaneously seeing equal merit in perspective B. You can argue both sides of literally any debate perfectly, but when it comes to your own life, that creates incredible difficulty in making final decisions. You get paralyzed because you're seeing multiple perspectives at the exact same time. The mental scales are just constantly balancing and rebalancing, making it so hard to just pick a path and walk down it.
Section 5. Deeper astrological influences, Brgu-Nadi variables.
In deeper Brgu-Nadi interpretation, the baseline predictions we've been talking about are actually modified by a few highly specific variables in your chart. First off, Mercury's zodiac sign sets the fundamental tone. Is your Mercury fiery and impulsive, or is it earthy and grounded? Second, conjunctions matter immensely. If Mercury sits with the Sun, Rahu's, Saturn, or Jupiter, its behavior really shifts. For instance, Saturn might slow your mind down and add some discipline, while Rahu might entirely amplify that restless, out-of-the-box thinking. Third, aspects from other benefic or malefic planets cast a modifying glance right on your first house. And finally, the actual condition of your 5th and 10th houses plays a massive role. See, the 5th house is your mental engine. If it's strong, your intellect is beautifully focused. If it's afflicted, that restlessness just multiplies. Meanwhile, the 10th house governs your career, dictating whether your incredible gift of the gab actually translates into real-world authority or just, scattered ideas.
And finally, Section 6. Finding true emotional wisdom, your ultimate spiritual lesson.
So the crucial point is this: despite your massive intellect, the source material explicitly states that over time, Mercury is going to teach you a profound spiritual lesson through awareness. And that lesson is that knowledge alone simply cannot create inner peace. You cannot think your way out of every emotional problem. You can't read enough books or analyze enough data to satisfy your soul. As a daily habit, the actual practice for someone with this placement is to actively work to step out of the analytical mind. You really need actionable routines, like dedicated breath work, journaling just to empty your head, or maybe a daily meditation practice, simply to cultivate quiet awareness. Your journey isn't about dampening your brilliant, restless mind. Not at all. It's about harmonizing it. The text tells us that the native gradually learns to balance their intellect with emotional wisdom. So as we wrap up this cosmic consultation, I want to leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. As you move forward in life, constantly gathering facts in charming rooms full of people, will you learn to finally balance your brilliant intellect with the quiet, still power of emotional wisdom? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and I really hope this deep dive has given you some incredible clarity on the Messenger Ascendant.